This beachfront area in Beirut is usually bustling, but on Thursday it was sealed off by security forces after a deadly overnight Israeli strike. The victims included people who had pitched tents along the promenade or were sleeping in their cars after being displaced by Israeli strikes near their homes. They thought central Beirut would be safer, but the war caught up with them.
That's because no one in the region is safe as long as a belligerent Israel is empowered by the United States. Right now, the Israeli government, and I know this based on statements they're making publicly, is planning to turn Lebanon into Gaza. They're using the same tactics. They're leveling parts of Lebanon. And Cenk, they're just being overt about what their strategy is here. Before we get to that, your 2 cents.
Yeah, real quick. First, they had this war planned. As soon as the Iran war was launched, they'd know that we were distracted and the world wouldn't notice as they took southern Lebanon. And that leads to point number 2. They've now forced the evacuation of 1 million people. So here comes ethnic cleansing round 2. They will then take that land, and American media and politicians will pretend it was self-defense when they started the war and they had a plan to acquire that land and slaughter and ethnically cleanse the Lebanese. They were planning it from day one as soon as they got America to launch the war against Iran.
All right, when the Israelis tell you what they plan to do, you should believe them because they do end up carrying it out. So C14, which is an Israeli media platform, hosted IDF Major General Uzi Dayan, who stated clearly what Israel intends to do in Lebanon. Now, he says it in Hebrew, but luckily the outlet posted what he said on X, so I'm gonna read it to you verbatim. He said, quote, "We need to act fast and with full force. Conquer the territory there. Expel everyone who is there. Destroy everything there and turn it into a death zone, which means no one moves around there." Okay. So as we're conducting Israel's war against Iran, a nation of 92 million people, and if Israel gets its way, it'll be destabilized, causing another refugee crisis. Where exactly are they supposed to go? As Israel intends to ethnically cleanse Lebanon, where are the Lebanese people supposed to go? And when I say this, when I pose this question, I pose it to the Americans, I pose it to the Europeans who spend much of their time losing their minds over the Islamification of their countries, over mass refugee crises and how they absorb massive numbers of refugees into their countries. Why are you empowering Israel to do this? Because that is what you're doing. The United States and Europe empower Israel to do this. Does Israel absorb any of these refugees? No, of course not. I mean, in the United States, I mean, we both bankroll this garbage. We lose soldiers as we support this garbage. And yeah, we help Israel spark a refugee crisis that impacts countries around the globe. I mean, not to mention the homeland of the individuals who have been victimized by Israel's depravity and genocide.
Yeah, so he just, Israeli Major General just said that they're gonna turn Lebanon into a death zone. Now, I guarantee you, in the future, when we quote him, they'll say it's anti-Semitic to quote him accurately.
Good, say whatever you want. We're gonna quote all day, every day. We're gonna tell the truth, okay? Go ahead and put it in your pipe and smoke it. So let's talk about the death toll, because right now, according to Dropsite News, at least 63 people were killed and an additional 142 people injured in a single day of Israeli strikes in Lebanon. Okay, total number killed since March 2nd. It's only been a few days. 634 killed, 1,586 injured, And more than 800,000 people have been displaced. The number is likely higher than that because those are just the people who have registered with the Lebanese government about how they've been displaced, how they've been forced to evacuate by the Israelis. Not everyone registers with the Lebanese government when that happens. So the number is very likely much higher. Go ahead, Jane.
Yeah, I've read that it's up to 1 million when you account for the things that you just mentioned. Okay, so have you seen this all over cable news? Oh my God, Israel is invading southern Lebanon. Oh my God, they just cleared out 800,000 to 1 million people, ethnic cleansing again. Oh my God, they murdered 634 people. Nope, I haven't seen almost anything on it, right? Because it's no big deal. They're just, oh, by the way, they're not just Muslims, by the way. They're also clearing out Christian towns. There's tons of Christians in Lebanon. And they're also
getting- They killed a Catholic priest. They just killed a Catholic priest.
Yep.
They did, yeah.
But you're anti-Semitic if you object. The priest must be murdered, and anyone who objects is an anti-Semite, okay? So, well, is everybody going nuts over that? Now, imagine if 634 Israelis had been killed. Do you think cable news would cover it? Do you think that's all they'd cover? Do you think there'd be congressional hearings over it? Do you think we might launch a second war over it? Of course, right? Because those are precious lives. But Christian and Muslim lives in Lebanon are worthless to American media, American politicians, and obviously to the Israelis. So, guys, we just started with this slaughterhouse. This is just the beginning. And Smotrich said they're gonna turn it into Khan Yunis. So Khan Yunis is leveled. Every building is destroyed, all hospitals, schools, everything is destroyed. And so they say, we're now going to destroy Lebanon and take it over. And we're gonna turn it into a death zone. And cable news and American media barely find that interesting. They're like, well, is it worth even covering? I mean,
I know, Cenk, but what about Zoran Mamdani's wife? What kind of social media post is she liking?
Yeah. What's the latest trend in hiring? Skills-based hiring, which actually emphasizes capabilities over education and direct experience. According to experts, this leads to faster hiring and better job performance. Well, if you're an employer who's adopted skills-based hiring, the best way to ensure that your applicants have the right skills is ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter recommends smart screening questions to help you hone in on that perfect match for your role. And right now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/TYT. ZipRecruiter has powerful matching technology to help discover qualified candidates quickly. They also make it easy for you to add their screening questions to your job posts so you get the highest quality applicants. That's what makes ZipRecruiter the #1 rated hiring site based on G2. Let ZipRecruiter help you find amazing candidates with the skills you seek. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/TYT. That's ziprecruiter.com/TYT. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. They had a segment, they had an 8-minute segment on that. I don't know that they've had a segment on Israel's invasion of Lebanon. And isn't it interesting that it was all ready to go? Like as soon as the Iran war starts, oh good, everybody will be focused on that. So meanwhile, when we launch an invasion we've been planning for a long, long time into Lebanon to take more land and never return it, American media will conveniently not notice. And of course, every Muslim and Christian killed is irrelevant to American media. They think we're just cannon fodder for the Israelis. And they will lie to you and pretend it's self-defense. And one last thing, guys. Who started this? Well, Israel and Hezbollah had a ceasefire. So you guys heard us talking about it. You heard all the news talking about it. Guess who violated it? Israel violated it over 1,000 times. They fired 1,000 rockets into southern Lebanon. Hezbollah did not fire one back until the Iran war started. And after the Iran war started, then Hezbollah finally fired back. And Israel then goes, self-defense, which is a gigantic lie. They're an aggressive imperial fascist empire in the middle of the Middle East. They are taking more and more land, killing more and more people, and forcing all of us to work harder here in America while we're barely hanging in there. And so that our taxes can go to that slaughterhouse and to those death zones. And if any of you object, you'll be called an anti-Semite and you might be fired from your job. That's the sick occupation that America is living under. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.